Hi everyone, and welcome to episode number 246 of the Karen Knits podcast. My name is Karen, and I'm coming to you from South Central Pennsylvania, where I live, where I work, where I knit and crochet and get into all kinds of other crafting shenanigans. I'm so happy to have you here with me today. It is Saturday, February 22nd, 2025. How can February be almost gone? Time is flying by so quickly. Anywho, if you're a new viewer, thank you so much for coming by and checking out my little channel. I'm so happy to have you here with me. I hope you enjoy it and you stick around. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back for another episode to see what kind of shenanigans I've been up to and what I've managed to get done knit and crochet wise. So happy to have you here with me week after week. If you have not yet subscribed, please do. It helps my teeny tiny channel, and like the video, comment, hit the notification bell, do all those YouTube-y things if you want to. It really does help my little channel and gets me put out in front of a few more people with the YouTube algorithm stuff. Anyway, I'm so happy to have everyone here with me today. It's a nice day out. It's a little on the cold side. It's supposed to warm up soon. I'm hoping. I'm tired of the cold. Although it's nice to be bundled up, but it's cold in our apartment. Or at one end of the apartment. We have a large apartment. It's long. The heating system starts at the far end that way, and I'm at the far end this way. And it's not quite strong enough. It does not push enough heat all the way down to this end of our place. But that's okay. I wear my woolies and that makes me happy. So it's been a busy week. I have another finished object and I have another new project and I have others that are languishing. Same idea as last week, but I actually have another finished object, and hopefully next week I'll have yet another finished object. I'm on a roll and I'm busting through the stash and I'm loving it. So, finished object. Baby blanket number 3 is done. So I had started back in the fall or longer ago. I don't remember how long ago it's been now. Maybe last spring. Anywho, I'd started making a couple baby blankets for a friend of mine for her daughters. When I started this, she had 2 daughters. Then a third one was expecting another daughter. And now that third daughter has arrived and is getting closer to a month old already. But I wanted to make 3 little lap-size blankets, one for each of the daughters, and I will let my friend decide which girl gets which blanket. I didn't have them specifically set for baby A, B, or C. So the girls are, I think, 3, 2.5, or 1.5, and newborn. They're fairly close in age, and they're all quite young. So anyway, the third and final blanket is done. All the ends are tucked in. I finished the last of the ends last night. It still needs, all 3 of them need to run through the washer and dryer just to soften them up just a teeny bit more. But it's done. The third one is done. And I used a bunch of I bought a whole pile of yarn. We still lived in Maine. They were purchased at a store in Maine. So I bought them sometime between 2006 and 2012. And I'm finally, more than 13 years later, 12 years later, a dozen years later, I've been hauling them around with me, keeping them all happy in a tote with other yarn. I'm finally using up some of those. And they were inexpensive acrylic, 100% acrylic, 100% polyester yarn. Easy care. My friend can just throw it in the wash, throw it in the dryer. Easy peasy to take care of this stuff. So I had 2 skeins of this color in the middle. Then I had 2 skeins of this yarn here, which is a little drop heavier than the yarn on either side of it, but that's fine. And then I had several skeins. They're all 50-gram skeins, so they multiplied to make a ton of ends. There were a ton of ends. And unfortunately, several of the skeins had knots in them, so I had to cut that out, reattach more ends. I think one skein I had, I think there were 3 knots in a 50-gram skein of yarn. I said some unpleasant things to that skein. I was not calling it pleasant names. But I had a lot of ends that needed weaving in. But that's all done. I finished the last ones last night. So I think there were probably like 6 or 7 of this skein. I prefer now, when I'm doing these, I prefer the 150 to 170 gram skeins of yarn, because you can knit or you can crochet for ages before you come to an end. But it's done. And I like the colors. The middle part's maybe not my favorite colors. They're more earthy, which is not really my color, but it's done. All 3 of them are done. All the crocheting is finished, and look at that. Oh, I love it. I love them. But I'm going to run 3 of them through the wash and dryer. I already said that. I have to set up a date with my friend and get them over to her place. So I'll probably try to get that done in the next couple weeks. I'd like to get them to her while it's still cool out so that they can be used when it's cold. So that's my finished object. So 3 little baby blankets are done. And I am itching to make more and donate them for lap blankets, either at a hospice or maybe a prayer shawl. I can do them as triangle grannies. It eats up a lot of yarn, and I have a lot of acrylic yarns that are easy to care for that I would like to use up and get them out of my stash. Some of this yarn has been in there forever. So I do want to keep working on that and keep that going. So stay tuned. It's a nice mindless thing I can work on. We watched a movie last week recently, that was all subtitles. So normally I always have something in my hands when we're watching movies or TV stuff, but it was extra beneficial to have something that I didn't really have to look at what I was doing. And I find with crochet, just doing basic double crochet around and around and around, I can do a lot of that without looking, or I only have to glance down for a second. So I can read a movie and crochet happily. So quite likely there will be more of those started in the near future. I'll probably scale back on working on those once we get into the summer months, when it's too hot to have a nice warm blankie on my lap. It was a treat to work on these in the cold in the winter, just because it was nice and toasty warm, just sitting on top of me. I quite like that. So I probably will get a few more done over the next while. And then I'll just put them aside and find somewhere to give them away to in the near future. So that's the plan with that. And after I finished doing my video stuff last week, I had mentioned I wasn't quite sure when the qualifying round for Sock Madness was going to start up. We're into the qualifying round now. I got up on Sunday morning. Once we got home from church, I checked on Ravelry and found that the qualifying round pattern had dropped sometime while we were in church. So I have been working on that. So I had to quickly dye a skein of yarn because I hadn't planned that well enough ahead of time. That's my own fault. I should have dyed some yarn sooner, but I procrastinated. I want to dye a couple more skeins of yarn so I have them ready for future rounds. But here's the skein of yarn I dyed for the first round. Showing up as a little washed out on here. It's a little bit more vibrant green in real life, but that's what I dyed up for the qualifying round. While I was doing that, I found that there was still a little bit of the green. It didn't exhaust all the dye quickly, so I grabbed a 50-gram skein of yarn. Here's the surprise. And I plopped that in there. And so the background color is just a little bit of the extra green that was in the dye pot. And then afterwards I went back in and sprinkled some with the same green. I sprinkled in some what is the word I'm looking for? I've lost the word. Oh my gosh. Speckles! Speckles! Oh my gosh. Brain is on I don't know what mode. She's not functioning right now. Words are escaping me. Speckles! Speckles, that's what those little dots are. Sprinkles? Well, it's like sprinkles on a cake. But, so I dyed this up, so this will be a pair of toe up, 2 at a time sort of shorty socks eventually. Like, I do need to do up a handful of yarns that I want to cake up to take with me when I go to Manitoba this summer to visit Mom. I'll probably take enough yarn to make 3 or 4 pair of socks just so I have yarn to work with. I'm not gonna run out like I did that one year. I didn't enjoy that. But those will become a pair of toe-up socks eventually. But it was fun making them or dyeing that yarn. So anyway, the qualifying round pair of socks came out. The pattern came out at 10 something in the morning on Sunday, and we have a full 2 weeks to finish them according to the specific details in the pattern. So we have to do the toe as written, then we have to do 35 rounds on the foot, then so many rounds for the gusset increasing, we have to do a specific type of heel, all that stuff. We have to take pictures and submit the pictures on a Ravelry page to make sure that we knit the socks the way they're supposed to be knit, so that we can each of us can qualify for Sock Madness. So we have until next Sunday, so a week tomorrow, to finish them, and I need to get a wiggle on because I should be by tomorrow morning, or by the time, probably better off before I go to bed tonight, I should be half done so that I know I can finish them on time. I am maybe about a quarter done right now. A quarter to 30% done right now. So I've got some knitting left to do. So the socks, the pattern is called Conjoined Sock Twins. It's a pattern by Catherine Richmond, and this is what they will look like once they're done. Now, these are a funky construction. What we have to do is you take the socks, you start at the toe on one sock, you knit up the foot, you do the heel, you go up the leg, Then once you get to the leg, you keep on going. You do not separate them into 2 socks until you're done the second toe. So by the time you're done the second toe, you'll have one long continuous sock scarf. I guess you can call it a sock scarf. Then you separate between the 2 socks, and then you do the bind off. And there's just a little blip of color, a contrasting color at the top. So I am still on sock number 1, or the first part of sock number 1. So you knit 1 sock toe up, and then you knit the second sock top down. So here is where I am right now. It's not a complicated pattern at all. I just have not had a lot of spare time this week, or have not made a lot of time to work on them this week. So we have to include a counting row. It's not that visible there, but you have to switch the yarn every 5 stitches, this contrasting yarn, just so that when the moderators are looking at your pictures, they know they know everyone's done the same minimum number of stitches or rounds on the sock, so that we're keeping the playing field level, so that some people aren't knitting teeny tiny socks and other people knitting gigantic socks. So the heel turn is done. Now I need to incorporate and do the heel flap. So once I get the editing done here, I'm going to put my audiobook on, and I'm going to sit quietly in a corner and knit. Once you get to the leg, there's a cable pattern that goes up the leg, and then the ribbing, and then you continue on with the ribbing into sock 2. So these cannot be done 2 at a time. They have to be done one, then the other. So that's where I am with these guys right now. And it's a fun, easy knit. But I'm going to have to get cracking with that, or else I'm not going to be finished on time. And that, I don't want that. I want to qualify for Sock Madness so I can continue, get placed on a team, and continue on with the competition. That's what I want to do. So hopefully when you see me next week, those will be done. Hopefully they'll be finished. So, and then once the qualifying round is done, then the moderators will get everybody settled into teams. And then once we're settled into teams, then the official competition part begins. The qualifying round is kind of a preliminary thing. You have to knit those socks in order to qualify and get into the actual competition portion. So that's where that is. So I still have not finished the warm-up socks. I haven't touched them since I showed you them last time. The legs are done. I'm ready to do the heel flaps and finish the heel flap, heel turns, and move down the gusset and the foot. So as soon as these socks are done, the conjoined twin socks are done, I'll get back to the Gansey Adventure socks. That's what they're called. I was drawing a blank for a couple seconds on that. I'm getting a tickle in my throat. So, and otherwise, so work has been busy. Lots of grading. Crazy professors that give their students all kinds of assignments and then have to grade it. So there's 1 week left on my condensed course. So I will be glad when this next week is done, so that my grading and course stuff is basically cut in half. So I'll be glad for that once we get into March. Spring break is coming up, So hubby and I are going, we've rented a cabin. We're going to go away for a little bit. It will take my knitting, of course, and probably some crochet stuff to work on, some charity blankets with whatever yarn I have still in my tubs. I've got a ton of yarn in my tubs. So I will get going on that. I'll take that with me when we go to the cabin. But I'm hoping that I'm hoping the timing works out well so that I have things ready to work on a pair of socks while I'm there. That I don't have to frantically find somewhere to print something, any of that. But we'll cross that bridge, we'll worry about all that once the time gets here. I don't need to fret and worry about that now. This week coming up, we have a date with our tax man. That's what he calls himself. We've been seeing the same guy and working with him for like 10, 12 years now. And so we have an appointment with him, our accountant, on Friday. So we'll get that done. So that'll be fun. Not. Anyway, so it's our taxes aren't they're not the most straightforward because my husband's considered self-employed, where he's a pastor at a church. So my half of the taxes are straightforward. His are not. So we happily pay an accountant to make sure everything's done properly. So that's on Friday. So I'm hoping that these socks are done before we leave on Friday. Because then that way I don't have to worry, because a lot of my time's going to be gobbled up while we're traveling, because it's about an hour, 20-minute drive to where our accountant is. We got settled with this particular guy when we lived in that part of Pennsylvania, so we go back every year to see him. We make a special trip just to see him. But anyway, and my birthday was this past week. I had a really nice day. Hubby brought me some breakfast home from Wendy's. So he brought me like a Baconator breakfast sandwich and some potato wedges. And then instead of going out anywhere for supper, because it was really cold, hubby went out. When he came home from work in the afternoon, he stopped at a local pizza joint and picked up a couple pizzas for us to have for supper. So I got the Meat Lovers pizza, and he got the deluxe. He likes the one with the mushrooms, green peppers, and onions on it. Don't like that as much. So we each had our own pizza. We just finished it yesterday. So we had pizza on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and we had the last couple pieces on Friday morning for breakfast. So we got lots of meals out of it. So I had pizza for supper. Hubby bought me a big bouquet of flowers for my birthday. So that was really nice. And just had a nice quiet day. I did a lot of knitting, did a lot of listening to audiobooks, did a lot of relaxing. I just had a nice, quiet, enjoyable day. I didn't really want anything specific for my birthday. I'd always accept more yarn, but I'm trying to work through my yarn, not add. I'm trying to get rid of it, not add to it. Even though I do add to it a little bit here and there. But so I don't really want or need a lot of other things. So it was nice just to get a bouquet of flowers. They're pretty. And enjoyed pizza. Then we watched the movie Flow. And it was an animated film, an apocalypse type film with a black cat. There's a dog, a lemur, a capybara, and some kind of bird. And it showed how all these animals work together to survive. And it was wonderful. There's zero dialogue. There's no speaking. It's all conveyed through what they do. And the animation was fun. It was if you have a chance to see it, it's on I don't think it was on Prime. I think it was on Max or I can't remember where we watched it. But anyway, it was wonderful. It's been nominated. It won, I think, Golden Globe Award or Grammy. It won some kind of animation award already. It's nominated for an Academy Award this year for animation. So it's, if you have a chance, if you have not seen it, and if you like animation, you like animals, it was wonderful. I really loved this movie. I enjoyed it so much. So if you haven't seen it yet, it's worth a watch. It really is worth the watch. And other than that, I think that's about it for this week. We had a quiet date day yesterday. We went out for lunch. And then we went to a relatively nearby town. It's almost 45 minutes to an hour drive from here. But we went there and we wandered around an antique mall. And it was neat. It was a lot of fun. They had so much stuff to look at. We didn't buy anything. We behaved. We did not buy anything. I did look at a few fountain pens, but I decided against them. They looked like they were in pretty rough shape. So, but we just wandered around there and looked around, came home. We went and had, we each got a shamrock shake at McDonald's and shared an order of fries. That was supper. And we love the shamrock shakes. We have them, we have a few of them. We have 2 or 3 times we'll have shamrock shakes when they're in season. And then we're good. So we had shamrock shakes for supper, and then we went and watched the movie Wicked at the theater across the street last night. And that was a ton of fun. We'd seen the production on Broadway quite a few years ago, like 2008, 2009. We saw it ages ago when I was at a conference in New York. Hubby came along with, and we went and saw the show there. And really, it was the first time we'd ever seen a live musical. And we loved it. And we enjoyed the movie. I didn't realize there's going to be a part 2. I have no idea when. It was a long movie. It was 2 hours and 40 minutes. Oy. It was a long movie. But it was good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the live performance more. But it was good. We enjoyed it. It was worth going. And that's about it. I think that's all. Been listening to audiobooks lately. I need to get going back to the one I'm reading right now. Forget what it's called. I'm enjoying it so far, but I need to get going on that and work on my conjoined twin socks. And I think that's about it. I think for real I'll shut up. I will let you go, and I will see you guys again next week. Alrighty, take care, everyone.